Hello, my name is Curtis Morrison. Today is January 27th, 2021. This video is for Rafael Urena and my DV 2020 clients, which includes plaintiffs in the Mohammed, Fong Jong, and Kennedy lawsuits, and of course our Project Voyager clients that came on board in November and December. So we have two categories of DV 2020 clients now, okay? And the information they need are different. So the first category of DV 2020 clients that we have are 2020 winners who have not been issued visas yet, okay? Most of them are in the Kennedy case, but also some in Mohammed and Fong Jong, and of course the Project Voyager. The second category is the winners that were issued visas, but the visas expired either last year or they are in the danger of expiring in the very short term, okay, or in March. So in this video, we want to give an update for both categories of DV 2020 clients, and I also want to answer frequently asked questions that we have been receiving and that we recently received in a survey that we put out. First, we'll update for the first category, okay, our DV 2020 clients who have not been issued visas yet. Since we last updated, hold on just a second, there have not been a lot of developments, but there have been developments. President Biden took office. Many hope President Biden assuming office would mean a change in the State Department attitude toward DV 2020 selectees. We have not seen that yet, however. There is a status conference on Friday before Judge Mehta, and of course the government attorneys will be there to represent the government's position. So maybe we will learn more about Biden's position on DV 2020 at that status conference on Friday. One really good thing about President Biden taking office is he has canceled Proclamations 9645 and 9983. Those are proclamations that ended two of Trump's most discriminatory bans, what was called the Muslim ban, and also, who originally was just called the travel ban before there were 10 travel bans, and also what was called the African ban that came in January 2020. These were on many individual countries, including Iran, Syria, Yemen, Sudan. The list goes on. This is good news for DV 2020 winners from these specific countries because now they do not need to worry about these barriers. They're no longer barriers. This applies even if they've already been to an interview and refused under one of those barriers. They still don't need to worry about one of those barriers. Okay. Let's see here. However, okay, this is very important. DV applicants who were subject to these bans, these 9645 or 9983, you still must wait until the final judgment in the DV litigation before Judge Mehta, okay? Like all the other DV 2020 winners who have not been issued visas, you have to wait until final judgment and when visa processing resumes for DV 2020. So if this is you, please be patient. Do not bother KCC. Do not bother the embassies. There's nothing that they can do for DV 2020 until we get the outcome of final judgment from Judge Mehta, or we get relief from Congress, but none of that is happening right now. In the DV litigation itself, we are on the road to final judgment. The government attorneys filed its motion for summary judgment on January 20th. The government attorneys attached new declarations, that's odd because you can't do that with a summary judgment motion. So we may fight that. You may see us file what's called a motion to strike to fight that. So the next step would be for our team to file an opposition brief to their motion for summary judgment, along with a cross motion for summary judgment. Let me see here. It looks like that is due for February 3rd. That's when we have to do that. And after we file our opposition to their motion for summary judgment with the cross motion for summary judgment, then they file a reply. And that is due on, let me see here. I think it's due in the middle of February 17th. And then after they file their reply, then we file our reply to their opposition, and that is on March 3rd. And then on March 12th, both parties file a joint appendix. So there's no way we can get to final judgment in the DV litigation, Mohammed Fangjong Kennedy, Aker Gomez. We can't get to final judgment in all those cases until the end of March, okay? So there's not a final date set for a hearing on the summary judgment motions, but we expect that hearing will be sometime between the middle to the end of March. Therefore, the absolute soonest that we could win and DV 2020 processing and adjudication could resume is actually April, because the judge needs time to make the decision and write the order after the hearing, after all of the briefing is done. Okay, so we need your continued patience. Also, most of you know we are lobbying Congress to save the 35,000 diversity visas that were lost on September 30th. That process is ongoing. Let me see here. See, those visas were lost at the end of the fiscal year. So although we've had a problem with Congress early this year, first there was an attempted insurrection by Trump supporters, and then since then Congress is focused on impeaching former President Trump. So Congress has been distracted by those things, so we have not been able to get the attention that we want to the issues for saving the DV 2020, but we already have support from key members of Congress, including the Senate, so we are optimistic at a chance at success with the lobbying efforts. But Congress can be unpredictable. This is not a sure thing. There's no guarantee. We need to wait and see, okay? So now, let's do an update for Category 2. Our DV 2020 clients who were issued visas, but the visas already expired, which was sad, or they are in danger of expiring in March. We represent hundreds of people in this category, mostly from the Mohammed and Fangjong lawsuits, but also some from Kennedy, who were issued in September, and now they're in danger of expiring in March. As you already know, former President Trump extended Proclamation 10014 through the end of March, and as of now, President Biden has not canceled it, okay? This means all DV 2020 visas will expire in March, because they were issued in September, they will all expire in March or sooner, if PP 10014 is not canceled. So, or enjoined is the word the courts use, enjoined. Fortunately, there are 4 ways that this ban could be enjoined or canceled before March. The first way is it could be canceled by President Biden. He is announcing some sort of immigration policies on the 29th, so we're optimistic that that could happen, okay? The second way it could be canceled by the judges hearing in the Gomez appeal. The judges that heard the Gomez appeal. It's already had oral arguments, and they could do that. The third is Judge Seaborg in a case called Annunciado. The hearing was last week. Hearing went well. And then finally, it could be canceled by Judge Chen in our Jacob lawsuit. That's filed by our team in the Northern District of California in San Francisco. Both Annunciado and Jacob have petitions for class certification that include DVs as classes in both lawsuits. Okay, so if the class cert is granted and an injunctive relief is given by the judge, that means it would impact and potentially save DVs. Okay, our team represents plaintiffs in the Jacob lawsuit, as I mentioned, so we have a lot of hope for that lawsuit. We know it. You're welcome to watch the status conference in the Jacob lawsuit this Thursday. It's actually video. Unlike Judge Mehta's, you call and you listen on the phone. With Judge Chin's, you can actually watch on the Zoom video. Currently, the main hearing for our class certification motions, and also our motion for preliminary injunction, temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction, are March 4th. But we're asking the court to move that up sooner because we realize, we have clients whose visas expire on March 3rd. So the sooner that this hearing happens, the more people it could save, right? Finally, in the regular DV litigation, that's before Judge Mehta, there's a status conference set for this Friday, January 29th at 1 p.m. And the issue is on the expired DV 2020 issued but expired issue. You're welcome to call in and listen. However, it's important that you have realistic expectations about what's going to happen on Friday. There is not currently a motion before Judge Mehta that he could issue an order on. And so before a judge can issue an order, really, there has to be a motion for him to issue an order on. So what we're doing is we're talking to Judge Mehta about the situation. We're seeing if the government situation has changed now with the new president, and then we're going to get a path forward. Charles Cuck, his team, the Acre attorney, is the one that's kind of leading this effort. Okay, so we are optimistic that Proclamation 10014 will be canceled either by President Biden or by some of these judges that I mentioned in February. But if it is not canceled and the issued DVs expire, we are hopeful that Judge Mehta will provide solutions for the reissuance problem, because it is a problem. It's not automatic that they get reissued. We know that because they're not being reissued now, okay, in his final judgment. However, we cannot guarantee that outcome. There's an awful possibility that DVs expire in March and they are not reissued. If Trump was still president, we know that's what would happen. So we will continue fighting, and we will do everything we can so this does not happen, okay? And of course, we have an incentive to do everything we can because most of you who are plaintiffs in Mohammed, Fong, Jong, and Kennedy owe us money if you get the visa and get in the U.S. So you don't have to nudge us to fight for you. We are getting paid. We will. So that's the overview. Let's cut to the latest frequently asked questions, because we're getting a lot of questions, understandably. Okay, question 1. When will the final decision be in the Gomez litigation? I can't tell you that with certainty, but I could tell you it's not before April 1st, 2021, because the briefing schedule is going to take through March. So the judge will need time to make the decision. It will be April 1 or after. Okay. Question 2. What about high case numbers and cases that are still at KCC? Do we still have a chance? Answer. Do not give up hope, because if your case number is high or still at KCC, remember in September, many DV 2020s were issued that had high case numbers. And the reason is everyone's case number is current, right? For DV 2020. So just based on what happened in September, we don't think that you should give up hope. So, question 3. I am DV 2020. Can I transfer my embassy? I get this question a lot. Answer, right now, no. No processing or adjudication is happening for DV 2020 selectees, and it will not resume until Judge Mehta issues his final judgment or we get relief from Congress. And so there's no reason to contact the embassies or KCC. You're actually slowing them down, which adds to the backlog that will cause us a problem later. So don't do that. Don't contact KCC or embassies right now through DV 2020. You cannot transfer your embassy now. Now, when DV 2020 processing resumes, it may be possible to open up your DS-260 and to request KCC transfer your case from one embassy to the other. But understand, you may be putting yourself at a disadvantage at that time if you do that, because you could cause a delay in a time where DV selectees are very competitive for a finite number of visas, 9,095 visas, okay? So if you do try to do something that creates a delay, realize that that could impact you, okay? You don't want to do anything to put yourself at a disadvantage because it's competitive, okay? So, question 4. If my DV 2020 expires, can it be reissued? Answer. Under Trump, the answer was definitely no. We had a lot of Cuban DV 2020 winners that found that out the hard way. It is too early to know whether the same will be true under Biden. And hopefully under Biden, the Cubans that expired will also get reissued. But we don't know this yet, okay? It's too early to know. But as mentioned before, we will continue to fight for you. Question 5. I have an issued DV in my pocket. How much longer must I wait to travel? Answer. That depends. You may not travel. Do not try to enter the U.S. Until Proclamation 10014 is canceled. I realize some people got in early on New Year's Eve because of the confusion, but no, that is over. Nobody can do that now. Realistically, it's probably going to be the end of February, but it could be sooner, okay? Okay, question 6, we are DV 2020 couple, and we are pregnant. Congratulations. What will happen with the baby? Okay, the answer depends on whether the baby is born before or after the interview. And in either case, there are procedures available that allow for the baby to immigrate to the U.S. We just have to go through those procedures, and there's no reason to learn about one procedure if it ends up being the other procedure. So just don't worry about that now. We will help you with that. Christina on our team is an expert in this. One important tip, though, once the baby's born, I have something for one of you to be doing. Work on getting the baby a passport. The sooner the baby has a passport, the better. Okay. And plus, baby passports are really cute because it's got a little baby picture like they're traveling. It's cute. Okay. Question 7. Is there any hope to get more than the 9,095 visas? Answer. Yes, but that's through our lobbying efforts through Congress, not from Judge Mehta. The DV numbers, the visa numbers themselves, expired at the end of the fiscal year on September 30th. They no longer exist. So Judge Mehta can't go back and reclaim them because they're gone. Okay, I realize that another attorney in another case thinks that is possible. And I told him if he did it, that's fabulous. I want you to be realistic. I don't think that's possible. Also, judges don't have the authority to create visa numbers. Neither do presidents, neither does the State Department. Only Congress can create visa numbers. So that's why we're going back to Congress. Question 8. If we had a medical exam in September, will we need to pay for another medical exam when the visa processing resumes? Answer, yes. Medical exams are only good for 6 months. There's a possibility that they do some kind of extension or waiver or something, but I wouldn't count on it. I don't count on that. It's possible, but I don't think so. Plan on paying for it. Question 9, will we need a new police report? Great question. That depends on the age of the police report. Police reports are generally good for 1 year. There's some exceptions where they say that they're not good that long on the report. If your report is 10 months old now, we recommend you get a new one right now because you have time to do it. You don't want to be scrambling trying to get a police report in March and April, okay? We'd rather you go ahead and get that taken care of now. Question 10, should I join another lawsuit if I'm already a plaintiff in Mohammed, Fong, Jung, or Kennedy, or Project Voyager participant? Answer. First of all, I don't know if that's an option anymore. I don't know if there's anybody offering another lawsuit, but we recommend no. It is extremely unlikely you will be able to obtain any relief that's in addition to what you're going to obtain anyway by participating in another lawsuit. Because you're already entitled to the relief as a Gomez class member. You're already, that includes all of you who haven't been issued a visa yet. And then you're entitled to relief under the potential class certifications in Enunciado and Jacob, if one of those class certifications are granted. And I think that there's a good chance that one of them will, right? So no reason DV 2020s need to participate in another lawsuit. It would just be wasting your money. Question 11. When is the final decision of Project Voyager? Okay, answer. To be clear, Project Voyager, people, I need you to hear this. Project Voyager does not involve another lawsuit, okay? So there's no final decision. It involves lobbying efforts through Congress. Those are ongoing. We will not give up that effort until it does not have a chance. We're going to keep doing that, right? So I don't know how to say when the final judgment is, when we're going to keep doing that, okay? I don't think you want us to set a final date. You prefer us to keep doing that. It also involves, Project Voyager also involves our representation in consular processing once processing DV 2020 processing resumes. It has not resumed yet, okay? So you have to be patient. When it resumes, either after Judge Mehta's final order or we get relief from Congress, then we will be representing you in consular processing. Question 12, is there a guarantee that I will get a visa because I'm a plaintiff? Answer, no. That was probably told to you before you signed up. Okay, question 13. I have an issued DV. Should I cancel my flight? Answer, no DV 2020s are entering the USA until Proclamation 10014 is canceled. And we cannot tell you for sure when that will be. So your decision on whether to cancel your flight or not cancel your flight is a gamble that you must make yourself based on the information that you hear, right? So a big factor is, when is your flight? Is your flight tomorrow? Cancel it. If is your flight early March, don't cancel it. Okay, question 14. Does the Biden immigration bill recapture the 35,000 lost visas? Answer, probably not, but we have not seen the text of the bill. Understand that the way Congress works is a bill is proposed, but the bill that eventually gets through Congress and is signed is much different than the one that is proposed. So it's difficult to make plans based upon proposed litigation, okay? The smart thing to do is we will be lobbying Congress, by the way, to see if we can get that 35,000 in there. But we have to wait, and our best chance at success with the lobbying is if it's done quietly, not a big social media campaign, okay? Congress, our approach and our strategy is to quietly use our lobbyists to get that done. Question 15. I'm a Kennedy plaintiff. Why do you not check the progress of our case with KCC or the embassy? Okay, answer. There can be no progress on any individual DV 2020 case before we win final judgment with Judge Mehta, or we make progress with Congress through Project Voyager. It would be a waste of our time and resources that need to be spent on things that can get you visas. And also, it slows down the embassies. We don't want to slow down the embassies. We don't want to increase their backlog. We don't want to do that, okay? So I answered that question, and what's the next? Oh yeah, so plaintiffs should not be contacting the embassies or KCC yet either. I don't want to be a problem for the embassies. Question 16, can I change my sponsorship, affidavit of support, or add a spouse or child when processing resumes or at the interview? Answer, yes. You can, and also change your DS-260. You can do all those things when processing resumes. You cannot do them now. You have to wait until processing resumes. Also, I want you to understand that you put yourself at a little bit of disadvantage compared to other DV applicants if you're making changes to your application after processing resumes. So if you're going to make changes, you better be paying attention to the litigation so you do them on the first day, and because very competitive for those 9,000 visas. Okay, question 17. What are the merits of the arguments you're making for final judgment? Great question. people never ask questions about the merits, the legal questions, right? So you will see our arguments on the merits, why we think we should win summary judgment, when we file our cross motion for summary judgment on February 3rd. Our team has been working on this for weeks, like actually months, and it's getting to be a polished brief, and I think that you'll be impressed. Okay. Also, there are more than one of these briefs. We're filing one for Mohammed, Fangzhong, Kennedy, and Aker, and then Gomez is filing another one. So thank you for submitting all your questions. If your question was not answered above, Raphael and Curtis, I'm Curtis, plan to have a Facebook Live question and answer session really soon, and you can ask it there. Or you can contact us directly. Just realize if the question can wait, that's always better, because we're trying to work on getting you what you want, and you don't want to distract us from that, okay? So thank you for your patience, and remember to drink water, breathe air. Thanks.